Kia ora, everyone. Welcome to this exclusive webinar on mapping your future by exploring undergraduate study options at NZSE Institute in New Zealand. So before we dive into the presentation, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you joining us. We appreciate your time and interest in exploring the opportunities that NZSE has to offer. Now, I would also like to request you all to engage actively by using the Q&A feature to submit your questions. So whether you want to get clarity on the discussed content or you would just like to hear our panelist insights on the related topic, please do not hesitate to ask. So with that said, let's dive into our content. So once again, my name is Priyanka Amin. I'm the Client Relations Manager with Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited. And to talk about us, we are headquartered in Auckland, New Zealand, consisting of 4 licensed immigration advisors. The photo that you see on the right, the building where the arrow is headed, is where our office is located. We sit on the 6th floor where the entire floor is ours. Our team's strength lies in its diversity, having helped clients from over 30 countries, offering tailored immigration solutions to meet each individual's unique needs. We are supported by a diverse staff representing over 6 different nationalities. We bring over a deep understanding of various cultures and backgrounds to our work. Collectively, we possess over 20 years of experience in the immigration industry, guiding individuals and families through the immigration process. We are proud to be the most reviewed licensed immigration advisors in New Zealand, showing how committed we are to doing a great job and making sure our customers are happy. Our reach extends far beyond New Zealand, with our local presence in key locations including India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Philippines, Bangladesh, and the Middle East, which helps us to serve clients worldwide. So now, as you have seen on the screen, we have a distinguished panel of speakers who will be sharing their insights and expertise with us. So first we have Fazad Irani, the Business Development Manager for the Indian continent at NZSE. Fazad brings a wealth of experience in business development and has been instrumental in fostering strong ties between the institutions and students across the continent. And next we have Tanua Mazumdar Bose, a licensed immigration advisor at Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited. Tanua has an extensive expertise in immigration law and has successfully guided numerous clients through the complexities of immigration processes. Tanua has got an experience in both the spectrum. She had also been an immigration manager with Immigration New Zealand for over 2 decades. So we are excited to have both of them here today to share their insights with us. All right. Now, let's take a moment to outline the scope of today's webinar. We have a comprehensive agenda that covers various important aspects of studying at NZSE. So here's what we will be discussing. So the first we have is program description and curriculum overview. So Fazad will be providing an in-depth description of the various programs that are being offered at NZSE. You will learn about the curriculum structure, the core subjects, and the learning outcomes. Next, we have admissions criteria and application process, where he will guide you through the admission criteria and the step-by-step application process. We will also be talking about the student support services provided and the career outcome and options. One of the key consideration when choosing a program is the career opportunities it opens up once you complete the program. So we will discuss the various career paths and job prospects that are available to graduates of these programs that will be discussed. And the last topic will be skill migration pathway. We will provide information on the skill migration pathway through a licensed immigration advisor. This section will be particularly beneficial for those who are looking to settle in New Zealand after they have completed their studies. We will explain the requirements and processes involved in obtaining a work visa and eventually the permanent residency. All right, with that said, now I would like to pass over the virtual stage to our first speaker, which is Fazad. So, Fazad, whenever you're ready, I'm stop sharing my screen.
Sure. Firstly, thank you so much, Priyanka, for the quick introduction and hosting this, and thanks to Immigration Advisors and Tanua for doing this and inviting us. And of course, thanks to all the people, all the students who have joined this webinar. So I'm going to share my screen, and when I share my screen, I'm going to share the everything that is available on our official website. So in future, if you want to use it at reference, etc., it's going to be easy for you. Uh, just a second. Yeah. So starting with, of course, Priyanka, spoke about the order in which we'll be doing it, but just to go, uh, apart from the order that she spoke about, so if you see the website, the first page that I talk about is industry parties. Okay. The reason why I'm showing this is so irrespective of any program that you study with NZSE, irrespective of it being a undergrad program, a diploma, a bachelor's degree, grad dip, etc., irrespective, these are a few of the industry partners whom we have signed agreements and MOUs with. Now, the reason why I'm showing you it, if you are aware, on a study visa, to work in new on a study visa, you get 20 hours part-time work rights, and you can also work full-time during your scheduled vacations, semester breaks, etc. So during that time, maximum students end up taking odd jobs like working in, restaurants or fast food cafes, etc., etc. Now, how we are unique and different is that for your part-time job also, our team will assist you in getting a job within the industry. So if you're studying engineering, we have engineering companies. If you're studying IT, we have IT companies. If you're studying healthcare, we have healthcare organizations. So from week one, our team will help you to get a part-time job also within the industry. So that is the ecosystem that we've created for our students, which makes your chances much stronger to get a full-time job and eventually start your journey in New Zealand. So this is the first thing. Now, starting with our healthcare programs, we have two healthcare programs for undergrad students. So the first program is New Zealand Certificate in Health and Wellbeing, Social and Community Services. It's a level 4 program, which trans in disability support or mental health and addiction support. It is absolutely the student's choice as to what particular strand they want to select, the specialization. It's a one academic year program, and our School of Health is based out of Auckland, wherein we have two campuses, Newland and Manukau, and we have one campus which is based out of Hamilton in Waikato region. So that is where we offer our healthcare programs. Now, talking about the entry requirements. So if you're a class 12 student who has studied biology as a subject, you would be the ideal, student to pursue this program. Or if after completing your class 12, you have had work experiences, in aged care sector, in care workforce, or working as a volunteer with an NGO, etc., you would be the absolute perfect choice as a student to pursue this program. Now, talking about, this particular, if you see your community services, right? So what community services means in New Zealand, it leads to care workforce. Now, what is care workforce? Now, in terms of you getting into the career after completion of these programs, would be somewhere into care workforce, that is aged care sector, that is working and, helping old people, cancer patients, sick patients, mentally retarded people, alcohol or drug addicted people. Those kind of profiles is what I'm talking about. Now, apart from that, we have 4 intakes a year across, three campuses. So we have 10 intakes across 3 campuses. So imagine the demand for this particular program from international students that we have. Now, apart from that, the best part about this program is at the end of your studies, regardless of the strand, like I said, the student will get a scholarship upon graduation, guaranteed you will be able to work for the government pay parity agreement, which is between Ministry of Health and the government of New Zealand. So this is guaranteed. Now, if you're a class 12 student with biology, the English language requirement when it comes to IELTS is overall 5.5. Nothing below 5 bands is the requirement. If you are a registered nurse in India or Nepal or anywhere, by just doing that 3 years diploma after your class 12, opt to pursue this program. Now, the overall IELTS academic, 6 bands, nothing below 5.5. And so if you see here, this particular program is available in our 2 campuses, Newland and Hamilton. We still have an October intake if you are the correct profile to pursue this program. And now this is a real, what do you say, a little hardcore and advanced when it comes to healthcare programs. So here, as a part of this program, at the end of the studies, the student will undertake 160 hours of work placement at an aged care facility or similar environment. Again, we will be assisting with our, partners itself. And upon graduation, they are getting paid $5.25, which is as per the government's pay parity. Am I audible, Priyanka?
You are
Hello?
audible, yeah, but it's cutting out in between.
I'm not able to hear you guys at all.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now. Okay, okay. So I
Right, great.
hope the level 7 was done. Okay. Now quickly just making you guys, quickly taking you through the pathway, right? Absolutely a student's choice if they wish to pursue, further studies, that is PG, masters, etc. after this course, or after level 4 also they have an option to pursue further studies. However, Tanua, of course, she will be covering bits about the, migration policies, but just to take you guys around, what is the pathway? Because both the programs, unfortunately, do not have any post-study work visa option, right? However, maximum of our students become successful in getting a full-time job that is directly with our employer partners, right? Because what the setup that we've created. So from, week one, we will, help you assist with a part-time job with a healthcare organization. Also, towards the end of your studies, you get 160 and 200 hours of work placement. So that is the ecosystem which will help you. Now, the pathway, right? So if you see, this is official Immigration New Zealand website, which talks about further details on sector agreements and care workers residence pathway. In short, if you see here, it's all publicly available. Care workforce work to residence visa, right? So in short, what the government is saying is that if you work in care workforce for 2 years, earning minimum $28.25, after 2 years, you can directly apply for a work to residence visa. So that is the pathway, and that is why we have 8 and 10 intakes a year running for international students. And the fee structure for this particular level 7 program is overall New Zealand dollars 19,000 only for 2024. Uh, Moving on, I'll move to our School of Tech. So the School of Tech is available in our Auckland CBD campus, which is Central Business District. So starting with the first course, it's called New Zealand Diploma in Engineering. We are the only private training establishment in entire New Zealand to have this particular program. And also the level 7 healthcare that I spoke about, no one else in New Zealand has that. So talking about electronics engineering, it's a level 6 240 credit 2 years program, right? Now, starting with the first pilot batch we had was in July. The next available, intake is in Feb 2025. So I will start with the entry requirements for this particular program. Now, talking about the entry requirements, if you're a class 12 student who has studied maths as a subject with at least 50 marks. So if you have scored 51 out of 100 in maths, you are eligible for this particular course. IELTS requirement is academic overall, 6 bands, nothing below 5.5. Now, talking about the subjects here, apart from the engineering subjects, we've also added some, advanced computer literacy programs like Introduction to Network, Software Programming, Microcontroller Programming, etc. Also, if the student in future, feels like, oh, I should do Bachelor of Engineering or BTech in Electronic Electricals, they will 100% get cross credits irrespective what institute they wish to pursue their bachelor's from. Also, our program is, accredited by Dublin Accord. And the career opportunities, if you see here, are a couple of career opportunities. But the best career opportunity, if I say, now just to make you guys understand the pathway. So if you're a class 12 student who has studied maths with 50 marks or above, you can 100% do this course. On completion of the course, you will be eligible for 2 years of post-study work visa as per Immigration New Zealand's policy. So just to show you this, again, official website. So it's exactly the name of our program here. And however, the related job, if you see, so currently, Tanua will, of course, deep dive into it about the post-study work visa, etc. But just to make you understand, the post-study work visa will not be an open work visa, but it will be a closed post-study work visa, which will mention that you have to work as an electronic engineering technician. Now, talking about technician, it is a very base level job, not a high level job. And considering if you study with us for first 2 years, if we will assist you with part-time job within the industry, that is going to eventually help you, get a full-time job as well. Now, So if you see here, it says qualifications eligible for a post-study work visa. So if you've studied level 7, a non-degree level 7 or below qualification, and the qualification is in the list below, so you become eligible for a post-study work visa. But this is the most important line. That is, you must also take a job that is related to what you studied if you have studied a non-degree level 7 or below. Hence why your post-study work visa will mention electronic engineering technician in your post-study work visa, and you need to work in that role. Now, as soon as you get a full-time job, okay, now the whole point is that as soon as, say, for example, you're a student, you get a full-time job on median wage to work as an electronic engineering technician, it gives you another pathway. That is, it is a part of green list, and it will give you a pathway to work, to apply for a straight to residence visa. Of course, Tanua will cover it. Just to make you understand, green list course, if you see your electronic engineering technician, and one of the requirements is the qualifications that they're mentioned, wherein our qualification is clearly mentioned. And the other requirement is that you must be working for an accredited employer or have a job offer from one and be paid at least the median wage or above. Once you have that, you can apply for a straight to residence visa. So this is the fastest pathway to residence if you see, and of course gives you a fantastic qualification as well. This is about our electronic engineering. Now moving on, I'll move to our bachelor's degree. So we have one bachelor's degree, which is called Bachelor of Business Information Management. It's a level 7, again available in our Auckland CBD campus. This particular program is a 3 years program leading to 3 years of post-study work visa. The upcoming intake is going to be February, March 2025. So you're moving on. If you see here, okay, how we are different is, okay, compared to a lot of institutes. So this is a combination. Now, BBIM is what we call in short. It is a very, a combination of business and IT together. So say, for example, all of us in this room currently enroll for this bachelor's degree. All of us will study in the first year common courses, which is related to business and IT. As soon as you complete that first year of studies, all the students will be given a choice to select one of the three majors that the college offers. So we offer business information systems, we offer data analytics, and we offer integrated marketing communication. Absolutely the student's choice in the second year as to which major they want to select. And for the next 2 years, they will be absolutely focusing on the major that they've selected. Apart from that, we will assist you with, of course, part-time job for 3 years within the industry. With that, you will be given an opportunity to work on a live industry capstone project in year 3. It wouldn't be a mock project, it will be a live project for sure. Now, talking about the entry requirements, we are on the higher side. So if you're a class 12 student, you need to have secured at least 70% in your class 12. IELTS requirement academics is overall 6 bands, nothing below 5.5. Now, say for example, you're a student who really wants to pursue a bachelor's degree, okay, with us, but unfortunately, you're not currently meeting IELTS requirement or financials or maybe the academic requirements of 70% that I spoke about. For those kind of students, we have another program which is called New Zealand Diploma in IT Technical Support. It's a level 5 program. It's a hardcore IT program, again available in our Auckland CBD campus. It's a 1 year program. Now the next intake is going to be Feb 2025. Like I said, again, this qualification will prepare you for a lot of international certifications as well, but will give you an opportunity to directly pursue a bachelor's degree with us. So we will provide you with a support letter like this, which says that on successful completion of our level 5, IT technical support course, you can apply to study our Bachelor of Business Information Management. But always remember, students, subject to meeting the English language requirements if you jump from one level to another. Again, if you are a student who really is keen on pursuing a bachelor's degree from a university, but at this stage you're not able to meet one of the requirements for a student visa, we have tied up with Auckland University of Technology, which is one of the 8 public universities in New Zealand, wherein if you see here, on successful completion of our diploma, students can apply for direct entry to study Bachelor of Computer and Information Sciences, again subject to meeting English language requirements. But here, one thing that I can guarantee is that once you successfully complete the course with us, you will get full cross credits and you will be eligible to pursue your bachelor's with AUT from second year directly. The fee structure for our bachelor's degree as well as level 5 is $18,000 only per year. Level 5 is 1 year course, bachelor's is 3 years course. I think these are the undergraduate programs that NZSE has to offer, and I'll be more than happy to take the Q&As towards the end of the session, and I'll now pass it on, stop sharing my screen and pass it on to Tanua. Thank you.
Thank you, Farzad. Can you hear me?
Yes, no worries. Thank you.
All right, great. So, thank you so much for that comprehensive overview of the undergraduate programs and future pathways. I see there were technical glitches, but you navigated everything smoothly and ensured that all the key points were covered.
Awesome.
So
I'm
now,
sorry for that. Yeah.
no, that's all right. You were able to cover it, and we always have the Q&A feature for people who have not been able to understand anything. They can definitely write to us, and we will respond to you during our Q&A session. So now, with that said, I will now move on to our next speaker, which is Tanua Mazumdar Bose, who will be discussing the skill migration pathway. So for that, Tanua, just give me a minute while I share the screen.
Thanks, Farzad. Thanks for that, very, very detailed sort of information. And I think that sort of put a lot of the qualifications that NZSE offers in context with what are your migration possibilities. So I think our audience would find that quite helpful. Um, so now that sort of segues quite nicely into what are the options to stay on in New Zealand post completion of your studies, and how what you study in New Zealand sort of help in that pathway. Uh, to start off with, comes the post-study work visas. To be eligible for a post-study work visa, you either need to be doing a degree level 7 or above qualification, in which case you get a post-study work visa for the duration of your course. And it's an open post-study work visa, which means that you could be doing any kind of work for any employer anywhere in New Zealand. So that's essentially what an open post-study work visa means. Now, if you're doing a master's, if you've completed a master's degree successfully, the post-study work visa is automatically for 3 years. But anything less than a master's degree, but a degree level 7 or above, you get a post-study work visa for the duration of the time that you've spent in New Zealand doing that qualification. The other sort of scenario where you could also qualify for a post-study work visa is where you're doing a non-degree level 7 or 8 qualification, which is required for an occupation that is listed on the green list, or the tier 1 or the tier 2 green list, or the list of qualifications that are eligible for a post-study work visa. Now, for this second category of post-study work visas, again, the duration is actually dictated by the amount of time you spend studying that course in New Zealand. And secondly, is that it is not likely to be an open work visa, but you will have to work in a relevant industry. So those are the two sort of limitations that come into force for that. However, notwithstanding, if you have done a qualification which tends to have a higher employment rate, so a qualification that can lead to getting employment, you also have the option of applying under the accredited employer work visa. So if you get a full-time offer of employment, which is obviously relevant to your qualification because that's the field that's going to best work for you, you could always convert from that student visa to an accredited employer work visa. The requirements would, of course, be that you have the employer that you intend to work for is accredited. And they also have something known as the job check approved for that position. And then you can subsequently apply for the work visas and stay on in New Zealand and work in that position. Now, that's sort of the post-study work options in a nutshell for you. How that leads into the skilled migration pathways is that, so skilled migration, there are 3 options. The first option is that you meet the requirements under the green list. So if you are pursuing a course of study that is required for one of the occupations on the green list, and you get an offer of employment in one of those occupations, then you can straight away apply for residence under the straight to residence green list category. The requirements would be that you have an offer of employment in one of those occupations, and B, that you meet all the requirements stipulated for that occupation. The second would be the work to residence option. Now, again, there are certain sector agreements or there are certain sector workforce agreements that are in place, which mean that you have to be working in that occupation for 2 years on an eligible work visa, and then you can, at the end of those 2 years, apply for residence under that category. The third one is the skilled migrant, the new 6-point category. Under this, you have to be able to claim 6 points, which could be a combination of your qualification that which has to be either a bachelor's or above, the income that you're drawing from skilled employment in New Zealand, whether that occupation requires licensing or registration in New Zealand, and therefore points are awarded according to the time that is spent in getting that license or registration, and the skilled work experience that you have gained in New Zealand. So all of that in combination, you can use to claim 6 points. Now, for talking about partners and visas for dependents, now partners can be eligible. So partners of students can be eligible for either work visa or a visitor visa. The work visa option is there if the student is either pursuing a qualification, a master's degree qualification, in which case the partner gets an open work visa. Alternatively, if the student is pursuing a qualification that is listed on, it's a level 7 or level 8 qualification, which is listed on the green list, or is an occupation, or is a qualification required by an occupation listed on the green list, then again the partner will be eligible for a work visa. At the same time, if the partner is eligible for work visa, then the dependent children are eligible for dependent child student visas, which are again open student visas. And the children are also eligible for to be considered as domestic students while they are pursuing primary or secondary school education in New Zealand. If a student is not undertaking a master's degree or a qualification that is required by or stipulated in the green list, the partner can still travel to New Zealand along with them, but it will have to be a visitor visa. The dependent children also will only be eligible for visitor visas. And if they want to study in New Zealand, then they will have to qualify in their own rights as as international students to be studying in New Zealand. So that is sort of that's the requirements in a nutshell for the post-study work visas and the skilled migrant options. As Fazad has said, a lot of the qualification that NZSE is offering, some of them are very employable. They make the student very employable, primarily in the care workforce sector. If you are doing that course of study, which is in the care workforce, and you do get level 4 pay rate, which currently is 28.25 New Zealand dollars per hour, you can consider the option of getting residence under the care workforce work to residence category. The option for those students ideally would be that once you do get an offer of employment, that you consider moving to an accredited employer work visa post haste, and then work for 2 years, and then eventually look for residence options. My suggestion is that if you are undertaking that course of study, when you're coming towards the end of your studies, please definitely consult a licensed immigration advisor who can then guide you to understand what sort of employment you need, what sort of employer you need, so that you can sort of chalk out your pathway for residence, because that would be the right way to stay on in New Zealand. So if you have any questions or queries or doubts about what you should be doing upon completion of your study, it's best that you consult a licensed advisor sort of early on in the piece rather than late, because there is a lot of things you can do while you're still studying, which could ensure that you're on the correct path to residence rather than leaving it to the to the end of the piece. So I think that sort of brings us to the end of what I had to say about this. I think, Priyanka, we would be quite happy to sort of lead into the question and answer round and see, how many questions we have, and then we can take those questions.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Tanava, for speaking about the skill migration pathway. Now, with that said, and as Tanava mentioned, that we will now open the floor for questions. So, if you have any questions for our speakers, please feel free to ask them by writing it in the Q&A box. So, I'll take the first question that we have. So, Faizad, this one is for you. I recently got an AIP and my course is Community Healthcare and Support Level 4 at NZSE. I wanted to know after completion, what is the pathway from this course?
Awesome. So hi Ranju. First of all, congratulations on getting the approval in principle. So talking about this particular program, like I covered, towards the end of your program, of course, you'll be given an opportunity for 160 hours of work placement. Apart from that, as soon as you reach there, our team will absolutely, assist you in getting a part-time job also within the healthcare sector. So that is where that is the ecosystem that we've created. And like Tanua said, that, that is what is going to make you employable in the country. So after that, if you get a full-time job before your student visa expires, I think LI will absolutely be, able to assist you with the further pathways, that is your work accredited employer work visa. And then considering it as a part of sector agreement, care workforce, you will also then be eligible to apply for a work to residence in future if you meet all the requirements, of course.
Thank you, Faizad. Faizad, with that said, just to continue on that particular question, I just want to ask you, so NZSE, what kind of help do you provide with accommodation and living arrangement?
So yeah, sure. So we do have homestay options and accommodation options as well. We have a lot of Kiwi families there who would be, more than happy to, host a Indian student or student from anywhere across the Indian subcontinent or the globe. We have tie-ups with them, which are very close to the campuses, of course. We have homestay options available at very, very affordable rates, I would say. So we do have all those facilities available with us.
So I actually have another question for Azad, which I think our audience might actually find quite useful. We've been talking about the level 7 and the level 4 healthcare courses. So NZSE has been running both these courses for a while. Could you give us a sort of a breakdown on what the success rate has been for your graduates to get jobs, and if you just sort of
I
give us a brief
I
sort of
wouldn't.
understanding.
Sure. I get your question, absolutely. And that's a good one, rather, for the students to get, some relief, of course.
Yeah.
Now, talking about this particular program, like related to healthcare, etc., I wouldn't give you a guarantee, or wouldn't give you a number, but I still can, go with percentage. So I would say the success rate of our students is over 90%. Okay. Considering the ecosystem again that we have, in place. But again, 9% is something that I always leave with the students, because they are the ones who will eventually be giving that job interview and not us. So yeah, absolutely. But we will assist the student till the end to get into that job interview room. But eventually clearing the interview is going to be with the student, absolutely being very practical about it. But apart from that, we have not seen a lot of students, struggle or fail or not get jobs, etc. And irrespective, I forgot mentioning one thing, 2025, we are coming up with a couple of PG and master's courses also, wherein, like I said, we are the only ones in New Zealand to have level 7 healthcare. We would again be the one in community services, of course. We would again be the ones to have PG and master's options as well. So if the student, unfortunately, if they don't have a future pathway, they can absolutely continue studying with us or any institute in New Zealand. It doesn't stop them from it.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a wonderful news. So I heard about NZSE not offering any of the postgraduate or master courses. So here it is. They would be starting the postgraduate or master courses. They are introducing it by 2025. That is good news. Thank you, Faizad, for sharing that insight. Uh, Besides this, now I will quickly take the second question that we have. So someone has asked why there is no post-study work visa for diploma in community healthcare and services. I think Tanuma, would you like to answer that question?
I'll take that question. It is because from time to time, immigration does tend to sort of review their policies, review the instructions, see if it's the best fit for what the economy requires, etc. And so they took the educated decision of limiting the number of post-study work visas that can be offered, and therefore limiting, which qualifications would lead to a post-study work visa. And it was deemed by them that if you're doing a master's degree, therefore you get that 3-year post-study work visa, no limitations on work, etc. But to limit the number of people, to in that open work visa space, and to actually encourage people to move into skilled work, and to move, and therefore at the end of their skilled work, get residence and sort of settle better in New Zealand. They sort of put in some limitations around some qualifications, which are considered sort of your diplomas, your level 7s, level 8 qualifications, so that people who study, or students who study that course, are become much better at assimilating with the economy, make that effort to actually get skilled job, and eventually become contributing residents and migrants in New Zealand. So that was the idea behind limiting who all get that post-study work visa. Whilst the diploma in community services doesn't result in a post-study work visa, but if you have the correct support system, if you have the correct sort of connections, and if you form the correct networks in New Zealand, you may be able to get that skilled employment, which can take you through to residence anyway, because New Zealand then has a care sector agreement with the healthcare, with the care workforce, and that is a very special sort of residence pathway, which is only for healthcare workers. It is not there for every other occupation. So whilst they've limited the post-study work, right, they've opened up a residence pathway for people who are pursuing that kind of course and are in that kind of skilled employment.
Thank you, Dhanuva. Thank you for answering that. I'll quickly take the next question that we have. Again, this is for you, Dhanuva. So we have got a question that I'm applying to NZSE College Level 7 course. I also want to apply for my partner's visa, but my partner is only eligible for a visitor visa. In this case, how to convert it to a work visa? Would you be able to take that up here?
Sure, I can take that. So your partner can check out their eligibility for a work visa in their own right, which means that if they are able to get a skilled offer of employment while they are in New Zealand, they can convert to an accredited employer work visa while in New Zealand. The one thing that you will have to obviously ensure that they remain on a valid visa before when they apply for when they apply for their subsequent visa. So ensuring that you have a valid visa is imperative. You could get a skilled offer of employment in New Zealand that needs to pay at least the median wage. So it has to be an accredited employer. It has to be paid at the median wage, and then they can apply for a work visa in their own right.
Thank you, Dhanuva. Dhanuva, while you are touch basing upon the partner's visa, I would also like to ask you, is there any age limit when we talk about taking an education in New Zealand or when heading towards a residency? Yes.
Sure. So if the aim is to only study and return to your home country, there is no age limit as such. New Zealand doesn't have age bars for doing any qualification, which is fantastic. And I think it's very thing to New Zealand. So as I said, so if you only want to study, you want to just upskill yourself, and you think that's all you need, and you can come back to your home country and use that skills in your home country, then age is no bar. However, if you are considering moving to a residence pathway, be it any of the skilled migrant category or any of the skilled sort of residence pathway, then you have to be less than 55 years of age. So you have to, when you are thinking about that and you are then selecting a course of study, move back. So see when you're going to be 55 years of age, and then move back from there, because you have to at least do a 1-year You have to at least give 1 year to studies, and then if you are going to give 1 to 3 years for your post-study work visa, getting a job offer, and then applying for residence. So all of those calculations need to be met because you have to be less than 55 when you apply for residence under the skill category.
Thank you, Tanuva. There's another one for you. What about general visitor visa and partnership-based visitor visa? Can my dependent get general visitor visa or partnership-based visa with my course in community healthcare and support?
Um, so, for if the student is pursuing a level 7 diploma in community healthcare, the partner can apply for a partner-based visitor visa. For that, you will have to demonstrate that you've been living together in a relationship that is genuine and stable. If you can demonstrate all of that with documentary evidence, then you can go under the partnership base. However, if you're unable to provide documentation which will clearly demonstrate, the living together, the genuine and the stable sort of aspects of your relationship, then you might consider the general visitor visa. However, before you take that decision, it's always advisable that you speak with a licensed immigration advisor who, after sort of listening to your entire circumstances, can give you tailored advice for that. But generally speaking, both the options are there. They both have different immigration instructions that need to be met. Which suits you best is something that you need to talk and discuss with a licensed advisor.
Thank you. The next question that we have, someone has asked that he has recently been refused to New Zealand and would like to reapply through us. So for that, I would just like to request you to write to us on an email address, which is contact@nzimmigration.info. And we will definitely connect with you, and we will understand your background, and basis that we will then help you take it further with your application. Right? Tanuma, would you like to add to it?
No, really. If you have specific questions, I think this. So for this, in this webinar, we can give you very general sort of advice, and we can talk about the generic sort of outcomes of courses, etc. But how it works specifically for you, highly recommends that you please connect with us for a more tailored, one-on-one kind of advice. It's free of cost, so why not take up the option? So yeah, and it's best to have that discussion because in that manner we can sort of listen to all the things and all of your situation and all of your factors and take all of that into consideration before we can give you advice, because anything we tell now is going to be very generic, and there may be things in your circumstances which may preempt you from meeting those sort of requirements. So please connect with us, and we'll be very, very happy to assist you with your pathways.
Right, thank you. So the next question that we have, someone has recently completed Masters in Business Administration. What are the courses they can apply for further studies with dependent and a baby?
Okay.
So,
I guess for that, I think you should just connect with us directly. For your as I said earlier on, for part eligibility of partners for visas, it's if you're pursuing a master's degree in New Zealand, then it comes with your partner being eligible for a work visa, and then your children also being eligible for dependent student visas. So that would possibly be the most sort of obvious pathway. But again, what course you should be doing, how you should be doing, where you should be doing, all those questions are very, very individual to you. So please connect with us, and we can arrange a counseling session and take you through what the options are.
Thank you. All right. There's one more question here. So Faisal, this one is for you. Someone has joined a bit late, but they wanted to know if there is if you could talk about Enroll Nursing Level 5 course. I understand that NZSE does not offer Enroll Nursing Level 5 course. Is that correct?
Yes,
So
you're
what could be the
correct.
alternate? Yeah.
So alternate, I wouldn't say it's an alternate, but related to community healthcare and support, we have a level 4 New Zealand certificate in health and well-being. And I believe if the student is interested in studying enrolled nursing, they might have studied biology as a subject. So if they have done that in class 12, they would absolutely be, eligible to pursue the program. But unfortunately, sorry, we do not have enrolled nursing program with us.
Thank you. All right. Another one for you. After completing 1 year of the community level 7 course, can I apply for another course? If yes, then which course is better than the level 7 course and its entry criteria?
Wow, that's again okay. So I would give you some maybe some not very specific information. Of course, you can look into fields like health science, applied science, healthcare management. Like I said, we would be coming up with community services, PG diploma or master's options. So those are the kind of absolute options that you can look into if you wish to study further after level 7.
All right. So with that, I would like to ask if there are any more questions, you all can definitely write to us in our Q&A session. And yes, I see another one for you. All right, I think we have covered this bit. So, Tanwa, would you just like to talk about the general student visa checklist? What kind of a student visa checklist would be there for a person to apply for Immigration New Zealand? Yeah.
Okay, sure, I can cover that off. So essentially, when if you are sort of, you've got your offer of place, and you are sort of looking at getting your application together, some of the things that are required are obviously your academic requirements. If you've been working in New Zealand, sorry, not New Zealand. If you've been working, you have any work experience, then please get all of your work documents in place. For your most recent work experience, it's advisable that you not only have your work, your employment agreement, but maybe any of the increments that you've got, your salary, if it's being credited into your account, then accounts like that, your salary slips, all of that information is there. Uh, for funds, normally what you need to show is, if it's a 1 year course, then you need to show the full, that you have enough funds to cover the full tuition fee for the 1 year and living expenses, which is 20,000 New Zealand dollars. You have to show that entire amount as liquid funds. And what Immigration New Zealand understands by liquid funds, it's either savings in your bank account, education loan, fixed deposits with obviously nationalized banks. There are certain specific requirements for certain specific nationalities as well, and that can obviously be talked about when you sort of engage with us individually. Then you don't you need a health insurance, so you make sure that you've got that. You have to have a statement of purpose. Please ensure that your statement of purpose very clearly talks about yourself, gives the story about why you want to pursue the course that you intend to pursue in New Zealand, and it needs to make sense. It needs to be reasonable, and why it is a sort of a reasonable progression for you to do that study. What are you going to get out of it, and whether the return on investment on that for that course makes sense. So all of that essentially is what is required. There is a first-time student visa information sheet which is available on the immigration website, which is something you can always refer to. However, how that sort of relates to you, what are the specific documents that you will be requiring, is something that can be only discussed on a case-by-case basis, which is why you should engage with either an offshore student agent who's done this work before, or licensed advisor. You can use them as well, and they can help you with not only this but also your future pathways after you do that course. So I think that sort of takes care of that in a nutshell. That is the requirement. As I said, anything specific, you need to sort of engage with an agent or an advisor or a counselor individually, and they can help you better.
Excellent. Thank you, Tanua. That was like an overview, a great overview that you were able to provide. I have one question over here for you again. So, what are the risks involved in choosing a course that does not have a post-study work visa from student visa perspective? That's a very
It's a
interesting
very
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting question. and very relevant also, I think, for today's webinar. So the risks that are involved essentially are that, when you are investing so much into, studying in New Zealand, immigration obviously needs to understand what's in it for you. So why are you doing that course? What are your outcomes from that course? And how do you think that's going to assist you in your career progression, in what you want to do, in the future? So if you are going for a course that is not likely to get you a post-study work visa, it becomes more important to demonstrate that you will return to your home country, that there are sufficient sort of ties, financial, social, etc., in your home country, which will encourage you to sort of return to your country. Or secondly, if you can show an established sort of pathway from whatever it is that you are studying. So, for instance, when we are talking about uh, community service, the level 7, say for instance, community services, that's a qualification that does not have a post study work option currently. However, given what Fazad is saying, if the likelihood of you actually getting a job because of their 160 hours of placement, because of the demand, etc., of that occupation in New Zealand, the established sort of special residence category, residence pathway that is there for this occupation. Taking all of that into consideration, even if you don't have a post study work visa, immigration will consider all of that to see that you do have a reasonable sort of ability to stay on in New Zealand. And even if you don't, they actually land up getting an internationally recognized qualification that will make you employable just about anywhere in the world. And that's the best thing about New Zealand qualifications, is most of these qualifications are internationally recognized, which means that if you do go to some other country with this qualification, you will be considered to be at a par with had you completed that qualification in that country. So it definitely expands your ability to be employed anywhere else as well, not just New Zealand. But yeah, coming back to the original one, so that's basically how it works. So there is a risk, but if you can explain that, and if that can be explained very well by your advisor or by the licensed advisor that you're going with, that how that sort of helps you in progressing your career, and what are the options for you to once you complete that qualification, then that sort of risks can be mitigated in that way.
Excellent, thank you. Tanu, I think the next one is again for you. Is it difficult to get accredited employer visa after completion of diploma in health and community support?
So it all completely boils down to your ability to get a job offer. So you have to get an offer of employment. The employer needs to be accredited, and you need to be getting the either the level 3 pay rate to get the accredited employer work visa. Preferably, you get the level 4, then you can already start working on your residence pathway. So if those three sort of requirements are met, then I see there will be no problem, quite honestly. But again, it's a case by case thing. um, and I think NZSE has, as Farzad has already said, they have a lot of support system going on. They have their industry partnerships in place. So, connect with them. And that 160 hours, I think, work placement helps immensely for students. Farzad, you want to talk a little bit more about that? I think that will be helpful.
You pretty much covered it, in general. But like, Tanua said, yes, we do have a lot of employer partners, and we have a lot of success stories, of course, which I can share with you if you guys want to connect with me independently through immigration advisors, of course. I can share those success stories as well, wherein, I have seen students who have started studying with us, and before they have completed their studies, they have a job offer in hand. So before their student visa expires, they apply for an accredited employer work visa. They get that pay parity absolutely, which is about $28.25. But the best part is that pay parity is below the median wage. So it is less burden for the employer also. So it's a win-win situation rather. And once you have a job offer in place, of course, you apply for your, like Tanwa said, apply for your, what you say, accredited employer work visa, work for 2 years, which gives you the work to residence pathway as per sector agreement set by Immigration New Zealand. So yeah, pretty much the setup is going to help you, get that eventually.
Great. Thanks, Farzad. I think, Priyanka, there's one more question that Farzad can probably help with.
Yes. So there is one more question that is being asked. What is the fees for Diploma in Health and Community Support in 2024?
Sure. The level 7 program is New Zealand dollars 19,000, and the insurance, like I said, is around $600-700. So take it as $19,700 for 1 year, which is less than the living expense in New Zealand, which is $20,000.
Thank you, Faizad. Faizad, while you are talking about the fees, I would also like to ask you, do you have any kind, I mean, does NZSE give any kind of scholarships for international students?
Yes, we do not have any what you say specific what do you say scholarship options available. However, we recently had two students wherein a student had secured over 93 percentage in class 12. IELTS score was about 7.5, and I was more than happy to pass it on to our head of school, and we were we were glad with the profile, of course. So we literally gave them scholarship for 1 entire year. So we exempted entire $18,000 for the first year of bachelor studies. So absolutely, if you have that, we are more than happy to provide scholarship basis merits more than having a set rule. Because if you see the fee structure, we are already lesser than the living expense. So
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning it. So yeah, like he said, there are specific, very specific scholarship that is being offered, but bases all on your merits. All right. So now with that said, I see that we have come to the end of today's webinar. And just before we wrap up, I would just like to extend a heartfelt thank you to both our speakers for sharing their expertise and valuable insights. Your contribution definitely made this today's session very informative. And to all our participants, we hope you found today's webinar valuable and informative. Remember that the conversation doesn't end here. So if you have any further questions or would like to explore the topics that we have spoken about, we would request you to please write to us on our email address, which is contact@nzimmigration.info. All right. So just before we conclude the session, just last two um, lines you would like to speak, Fazad and Tanua? Just a closing
uh,
line.
nothing but thanks again to everyone who has made time and attended this webinar. Of course, thank you to Immigration Advisors team for organizing this. I can understand the hard work that you guys put in, but absolutely the end goal is to promote New Zealand as the destination, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Fazad. That was really kind of you. Yes. So Tanua, would you like to
Yeah,
just say, yeah, thank
just
you.
thank you. I think it's a big thank you for everybody who took the time out to attend the webinar today. And thanks, Farzad, for taking the time to actually talk about the courses offered by NZSE. Some of them are quite niche and they have fairly good sort of employment outcomes as well. So, that is the primary sort of things that most of the international students are looking for. So thank you for all your, all the information that you provided today, and especially about how you have that ecosystem in place where the students can sort of get into work placements, etc. So I'm sure that was very, very helpful for a lot of our audience. And thanks, Priyanka, for being a perfect host and ensuring that we were running to time for everything. Thank you so much. And thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for taking that time out today from your busy schedules.
Excellent. Thank you, both of you. So we
Thank
look
you very
forward to
much.
connecting with you again in future webinars and events. Until then, take care, stay safe, and goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.